Greetings and welcome. This is Psychic Medium Roberto, and I truly hope you're doing well today. So we got some cold cases pinging. The subject matter is of a mature nature and deals with true crime events. All cases are treated as alleged until proven in a court of law. So this young gentleman, Noah Presgrove, pinged on me over the weekend. And if you're not familiar with the context, Noah and his group of friends had a Labor weekend party over a period of approximately 4 days, and then was found deceased on the side of the road on September the 4th, on the Monday early morning, September the 4th, 2023. All right, so here is the chart. And just to add on to the context, the current situation is the family, as far as I see the latest information, have still not even seen a medical report. There's no information regarding there's no report on toxicology, nothing, which already is suspicious in itself. I have a hunch. All right. Now, before we start, I just want to draw your attention to all the sevens. Now, in previous recent episodes, I've actually mentioned whenever there's sevens on the scene, the first thing I do is I want to discount any law enforcement involvement or any of that kind of thing. In this case here, the sequence of dates, including the sevens, is a good example where, although we have the sevens, so the key dates, so this is just some background to numerology. The Monday, September 4th to September the 7th. So let's look at Monday. We have the double sevens. There is an 11-2, but the 11-2, if it was where the 13-4 was, then I'd say we got an issue. And we saw this in the Nicola Boulay and Evelina case that I recently posted, where the 11-2 is actually positioned right next to the sevens, which means in that cluster is where the situation happened and, who was involved, particularly if there's sevens in the scene. So what we have here in this case is we have the double sevens on the Monday. Now, of course, we were in a 7 year. So now those double sevens aren't reinforced, but they are reinforced by the number 13-4. And I'm just going to highlight it now in orange. So what I believe overall, if we just had to do an overall, I believe there was some kind of accident and not necessarily a murder. So 13-4, and I explain this in the book, 13-4, although there's various meanings around the 13-4 as well, of course, but in this case, when we know the outcome that a young gentleman is deceased, the 13-4 tells me a death. It's similar to the death card in tarot packs. Now, although the accident, let me just rephrase that. I believe there was an accident at this party or whatever they were doing, and we'll get into it. We'll look at the build-up, but The situation was an accident, okay? However, because of the actions or non-actions of the group, 20 group, the day before 10-1 groups, we know there was big parties going on. But the outcome of the day is an 11-2, which is, so the outcome is unlawful. Okay? So on September the 7th, we have highlighted in blue. That is going to be the summary of events that took place on September the 4th. Of course, between the 4th and the 7th, there's other information we can get, and we'll go through it. So on September the 7th, we see a mass of sevens. So we have three, let's call it 3 sevens from, well, 7 from the day, 7 from the year. And then we got a 16-7 in the middle of the day. So that is Noah. There is Noah, 16-7 in the middle of the imbalance of sevens. Now, I have been meditating on this for 2 separate sessions. I would say I've just completed the second session. And of course, I started with worst case scenario, which would be a murder, intentional murder, let's say. But I don't believe there was murder here. Now, I believe there was an accident that happened. And when I was meditating on those 4 sevens, I received a message, I believe, from Noah. They could have called the paramedics. Now, that comment, or message rather, confirms the 11-2 outcome on the Monday. Now, we can all appreciate, we've all been there, we've all been young. Some are more reckless than others, but we all had fun at some point, in some measure. No harm in that. The issue, I believe, here is that when this happened, it would indirectly or directly implicate everyone at the party, because as far as I understand, and please correct me, but as far as I do believe, in America you have to be 21 and older to drink. Now you got underaged kids, teenagers, boozed up, 4 days of booze, partying, adrenaline, endorphins, whatever you want to add to the mix, whatever's your party trick. That by the time we get to Sunday evening, there's big partying going on and a bit of showboating going on. Now, the minute the incident happened, I believe there was an opportunity for Noah to be saved, as it were. They could have called the paramedics. But I believe a group decision was made, 14-5, September 7. September 7, the red 14-5 group. That's the group of friends, by the way. 14-5 is your group of friends. The hidden 23-5 also says community. So community, these are all known people, of course, but I'm just confirming in the numbers. 23-5 is about community. That number 235 pops up in the book I'm finishing off in the case of Gabby Petito, and very relevant. 235 community building. So now let's get into this, because there's two numbers that bothered me here when I started. The 4 on September, Monday, September the 4th, the 4 bothers me, and we'll go into it. And then also subsequently the September the 5th, the 5. Those two numbers bother me. And we'll also note the outcome of September 7 is a 5, and we've got the 145. That's, I'm not kind of going textbook when I get to these numbers. It's purely on intuitive connection with these numbers. And the two numbers that freak me out is 4 on the morning. Now I've made a red block there. The 9, the 4, and the 7 is where he was found, or the body was discovered. So 4 also brings about male energy, the showboater. And I mean, we're having fun, everyone's having fun. But of course, testosterone, young guns. I wouldn't say there was any kind of peacocking going on. However, I will also put a asterisk disclaimer. So 4 is an issue. That is male energy. Okay. Now, I've just been reminded, I wrote here, conflict of interest. On September the 7th, where we see Noah 16:7 in green, plus 7. Okay? So effectively, you have a 7 plus 7 there, and even on top, 7 plus 7. But more so in the middle, because now the outcome of the day in September the 7th is a 7, derived from 167. And of course, that still pings on Noah. But what I'm getting to is the outcome is a 7. So that's Noah. And then there's another 7. So it's like a conflict of interest. So I'm not saying, I don't believe things got out of hand to the point of let's trip him up, make him hit his head, because I believe it was blunt force trauma. Blunt force trauma to the head, but we'll get into that as well, because I'm not necessarily... So blunt force trauma to the head is illustrated by the number 6. And I would expect to see that number, either it would be evident in September 7. But it would definitely be evident either the September the 4th or September the 3rd. And I'm not seeing head trauma. So when I just re-looked at facts before recording, just to make sure I'm not creating a Disney production here, I read there were, according to police, there's a head, blunt force trauma to the head. Now, I'm even looking again now. Yes, there's some 6s on September the 6th. But it's too far away from... I need to see it in the red zone. So in my opinion, I'm not seeing blunt force trauma to the head here as well. So getting back to the 4, which is male energy, and there's a double 4 because of the 13-4. There was definitely like showboating situation. I do believe, and there's strong evidence of it. So, but I would say there is feminine energy around you as well. So we note on Sunday, and I'm still trying to figure out the full story. Sunday, September the 3rd, we have the 12-3 with the outcome 3, which is about feminine energy. The day starts with 3. So this would have been quite a fun, light, or still partying. 12-3 is coming together, 19-10-1 partying. But the energy would have been very different to the energy on September the 4th. So let's say September the 3rd, you'd have feminine energy. Whereas September 4th, because of the 4s, you're going to have predominantly male energy. I've just been reminded, and I haven't put it here, and I have to put it because it almost contradicts almost what I said. Well, I'm going to put it because I'm seeing, I did get a glimpse of a crowd taunting. I'm going to just put it here, crowd taunting, and I don't have all the answers yet. I put myself in a, let's say, live environment so I can just peek myself as well as put myself in a position to find the answers given a certain time frame. I did get a sense of crowd taunting, so that could have been, and I don't want to make excuses for anyone, but that could have been the moment where the showboating was happening, so people cheering. Go on, you can do it, you can do it. You know, that kind of situation. And everyone's having fun and it goes wrong. Now the 5, September 5 bugs me here. So yeah, this is why. Okay, I've just seen why. So September 5, I've circled with the 5. So your day, or that day, is starting with bullshit in the air. So I believe one of the relatives or mom was saying, or relative was saying, of course, no one in the group is talking, right? So what confirms it now for me is the 14-5 outcome of that day. So you got a 5, 14-5. Bullshit. And interestingly, so people aren't, like they say, not talking, or they're not going to tell you the truth. The outcome we also note, and we'll get to why no one's talking. I briefly spoke about it. 12-3, with a 3 outcome, there's feminine energy involved here. And there could have been the 16, 7, and 7 standoff or conflict of interest brought about the message friend's sister. Friend's sister. So it was there in that group of friends that were together in the main. I won't say people joining on Saturday and then we never see them again, or joining on a Friday, we never see them. The group that went through the weekend. Does one of the friends there have a sister that was also at the party? Because that may be the way to unravel the mystery of partying gone wrong. So I'll even put your possible witness, or can break the case or break the silence. Now, I believe the reason why no one's talking because, and I believe I did mention in the beginning, you got underage kids, alcohol. To have an alcohol crime on your, at this young age, you're about to go to college or whatever the situation is, or you're in college, could ruin your life. So why should 10 people suffer when one person that got into trouble? Does that make sense? And I've just been pinged on the Nancy Ng case. You got 10 people that go boating and only 9 come back. And all 9, I want to use a different word, but leave a crime scene and fly out of the country. Is it a big surprise that the group mentality takes over, or the group takes over? So evidence of the group is, of course, Sunday, September 3, we have the 10-1 outcome. That's group outcome. What is best for the group? And I'm seeing these numbers in a different situation for the first time in a sense. That because, and let me explain what I mean. Numbers, like tarot cards within a given context, can present a different meaning. And that's why I've meditated this 2 sessions on 2 separate days. So just to make sure I'm getting a clean read on the situation. But we'll note September the 3rd, there's a group outcome 10-1. I've just marked it orange now. So group will overcome. Okay. 4, so if we take 4 on various meanings, 4 also alludes to death. And in fact, it can be more of a medical death. Now, that's why I believe the toxicology, am I saying it correctly, is important. But I mean, how does a medical report not get issued for more than a year? That's the first thing if you have any kind of evidence of a case, you've got to report the coroner's report or the medical report. Surely, I'm not a cop, but it would seem logical to me. And 5, on September the 5, it's a bad number there. There could be drugs involved here as well. Something went wrong here. So all these kids are having fun. And look, we all had fun. But the moment it became a 13-4 situation, a death, so Nancy was left in the water, and the 9 people got themselves dry and bought airplane tickets and flew out. Because the mere incident would implicate them with severe consequences. That's why. There's definitely feminine energy around here. I want to just see. So I was just trying to get more information on the sister and friend situation. I'm not, what crossed my mind, I was just wondering, did they get into a fight or brawl? And as a result of the fight and brawl, there was sustained injuries and died. So the answer for me is no. And the reason why I'd say that you'd want to see numbers like number 8 And here's the irony as well. You'd want to see numbers like 6. So 6 is head, heart. But 6 also is aggressive, violent, guns, knives, aggression. So I'm not seeing that it was a fight that broke out, not at all. And to answer the question, I believe the conflict of interest is the future of the group. So I'm actually going to put your conflict of interest is so Noah's passing, and this is what we see in September 7. That's what I'm saying. These numbers are telling a different story. And I mentioned this in the book. We got to treat each case openly and objectively. Let the numbers, and more so the combination of the numbers, tell the story before assuming. Because even if you assume, you've got to prove it 3 times. That's my rule. There's got to be at least 3 confirmations. So the conflict of interest is group versus Noah. And let me just say, group versus Noah. What I was going to say, had this happened to someone else, so what I'm saying is it wasn't specifically targeted at Noah, the situation. I don't believe it was. It just happened to be that Noah, whatever the situation was, injured or got into a serious accident or injury of himself. That's what happened. But if it was anyone else, would the group still have behaved the way they did? Because this is group mentality that's happened here. In fact, it was one of the first things we were taught studying psychology is the group. When the group becomes the group mentality, group animal, it's very difficult to stop it. And one life over 10 futures. So will there be justice for Noah? So the crime did take place in a 7 year, and Noah is a 7. I believe there will be justice. Now, I was also just trying to figure out why the police and higher ups are not doing anything or are not releasing any information to the family even after a year. Is one of the kids' parents or relatives in the higher ups? Does one of the friends have an uncle or aunt or brother in the police force or something? Because the conflict of interest on September 7 also includes law enforcement. 4 7s. 14-5, also the band of brothers. So possibly someone in the crowd, and it's evident, 14-5 on the September 7, and you got that 14-5 on September 5. This is that number, and I mentioned this in the Nicola Boulay and Evelina case. 14-5 becomes that group that's the bad group. The group turns bad. So the day before, happy friends, happy partying, but when they're faced with the real life situation, the survival instincts kick in. So I'm just writing here, group taunting. So this group taunting is like, do it, go do it. You can do the trick or whatever the prank is. Kids behaving like teenagers, like they are. And when you have that much alcohol over a period of 4 days, reality becomes a blur. But everyone's sobered up on Monday morning, that's for sure. And the story we know is bullshit. September 5, 14/5, lies were told. Now, I was wondering why, I was trying to get an answer on why Noah was found naked on the side of the road with just his boots on. I believe the staging, so another staging number is that 1455 lies. So it's a staging to draw attention away from truth, the way he was staged. And I believe it would make sense that his clothing would have evidence on it of some kind or the other. And I would say alcohol and drug related. Now, I'm not saying Noah was taking drugs or whatever the situation or whatever. You're having a party. Everyone's boozed up. Jimmy from whoever joins the party and starts popping around some happy pills for everyone. And it goes wrong. I've just been reminded of that movie, Project X. So this is a party that gets out of hand, in my opinion. And due to the nature of the incident, and I believe he was still alive at the time of the incident, so if people thought he was dead versus unconscious, they were mistaken. Everyone panics. Everyone has no sense of reality after a 4-day binge. Immediately, worst case scenario is dead. We got to do something. Crowd mentality takes over. Save the crowd. We got 10 futures to think about. That's what happened. Now, because there are so many sevens on September the 7th, I'm just wondering, someone in the crowd has perhaps some pull or connection with law enforcement. So that would be worth looking into. There will be justice in some shape or form, being in a 7-year, and Noah 7. I did look at the days leading up to the event to see if there's any kind of premeditation, but I don't believe there was. It's just things got out of hand. All right, let's leave it there for now. So I believe there is a segue into the group via, if there's a friend that was in the group with a sister at the same party or connection, but of course everyone at the party knows and knew what happened. All right. Please let me know what your thoughts are and comments are on the case, and let's hope for a speedy process of justice for Noah and his family. All right. Stay safe, stay alert, and I'll see you in the next one.